Good day, viewers. Welcome to what you are watching, Open Studio on Cape Town TV. I'm your host for today's show. As always, my name is Danny Kambwa, and today we've got a very sensitive topic to discuss with you all. Joining me in studio today to discuss this topic is Hanif from the organization or rehabilitation center called Tawakkul. He's here to speak to us about a very sensitive topic that we face daily into our communities. So, Hanif, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you and welcome. Thanks for having me here.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thanks.
Okay, so for those that do not know you and do not know about Tawakkul, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how the organization came about?
Yes, Tawakkul Rehab Center was started because there was a lack of rehab centers dealing with our addictions and substance abuse in our communities. And I felt the need to, we felt the need to open a center to assist the community with the addiction problems that we were having.
So what inspired the name Tawakkul?
Tawakkul is basically leave it in the hands of God.
Okay.
It's an Arabic word. It means to leave it in God's hands and leave everything in God's hands, so to speak. And that's where the name comes from. It's
So
basically without God or without belief structure, you won't actually recover. You have to believe in something.
Absolutely.
So you could believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So drugs is a very touchy topic. It's a big thing we face daily within our communities, within our work environment, within our schools. What is your take on this? What is your take on drugs?
Everybody's affected by drugs. Whether it's not in your home, it's around your home.
Yeah.
And so now and then the burglar comes in your home, he's on drugs. Your phone, you're at work, your phone that gets missing, your people all around you, it affects everyone directly. There's nobody that can say they don't know about the addiction scourge that's happening in our communities. And not just in our communities, everywhere.
So who is most vulnerable? Who is most affected by these addicts?
At the moment, you're talking about the addiction or the addicts?
The addicts. The addicts.
Okay.
Well, once an addict is on the loose, who's the targets? Who's the vulnerable ones?
Firstly, the targets of the addict is at home. It starts there.
Yeah.
Because at home, normally the families pick up the theft, the stuff get missing out of the home and stuff. Tackies, my cell phone, my rings, it's the money out of the purse. Those are the first targets when they start entering a life of addiction.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, and the reason being because mommy won't go make a case, or my brother won't make a case. But touch your neighbor stuff, then we see quickly what happens and how things change. And it's out on the road, and that starts being having a serious effect on the family, and normally they kick him out, or he can't steal anymore, and then it's out on the streets, and then he becomes a criminal.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, from there on, it's a life of crime. But not because he chooses to, but because he has to. He's got to feed his
needs.
Addiction.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, it starts at home before it goes out in the community, and the community will stand for what is theirs. They will attack, they will defend themselves, they will retaliate.
Yes.
But then the houses, your mother, your father, your grandmother, they're protecting these people. They refuse to accept that they are addicts. And what is your take on that?
It's not that they refuse to. It's the fact that they don't want to know that their child has become an addict, or they're naive to it, or they're just uneducated in the sense that they don't really know. They just think this child is naughty, or this child, why is he behaving this way? But deep down, a lot of them know that there's an addictive behavior coming out, and that's where they need to start stepping in.
Yeah.
Addiction is normally picked up where your child's behavior is starting to change into the negative. And that's where you need to step in as a parent, and you need to reach out and not be like it's taboo to talk about my child being an addict. It's not a failure of the parent, it's the influence of this world that's causing the mindsets of the new generation.
Yes, definitely.
That's lawless.
Yeah.
You know.
So what can the families do before it goes out of hand, before it gets to the community?
Look, when it goes out of there's many outreach programs by a lot of NPOs and that kind of thing, but not enough. I feel not enough. And is to first realize that you are sitting with a problem before it gets too big. What families normally do is they ignore it.
Yeah.
They live in denial.
Yes.
And then when they wake up is when it's been either picked up by the police or beaten up by the neighborhood watchers or by, or he gets into all kinds of trouble with the law.
Yeah.
And that's when they wake up and say, oh, I need to go bail my son up, or he's in hospital full of holes, or you know, he's been locked up. And that's when it's a little too late, but not too late. It's never too late to help an addict. Things like that. They're reaching out to there's a few organizations that are running in Cape Town, but we don't have the exposure that we need to attack this scourge of addiction.
So with exposure, obviously the government has to play a role in this, have to assist and...
Yeah, they supposed to.
Yeah.
But they don't.
They don't.
They don't. If we make a noise now, a little bit of noise, then they make an effort to appease the noise only.
But not to tackle
not
the
to
issue.
tackle the issue. The issue is addiction is funded by the billions made off the drug by the gangs and drug lords.
Yeah.
How do we counter that? Only with money. And we as NPCs and NPOs, we're fighting a losing battle. And getting government to play part, you've got to register with SDAS, the social developments. And you've got to jump through fiery hoops before you can actually...
So like you've mentioned now, also communities play a big role. So we're going to take a short break now. When we return, and we're going to go a bit more into details of what the community can do to assist. So for those that's watching at home, please do not go anywhere. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our conversation with Hanif. Don't go anywhere. All right, we are back. Welcome to it. We've got a very sensitive topic that we are touching on today. So if you just join us, you're not too late. You're watching Open Studio on Cape Town TV. As always, I'm your host for today's show. And just to continue on our conversation, joining me in studio today is Mr. Hanif, who's from an organization called Tawakkul Rehabilitation, from the Tawakkul Rehabilitation Center, just to speak to us about the issues that we're constantly facing within our communities, within our homes, even with our own loved ones, that has been affected by these drugs and also have become addicted over time. So just to continue our conversation, we spoke about what the house can do, why they detect that somebody might be an addict, to speak out and not to be in denial. So can you tell us what the community can do? Because I know they've put in place what you call these neighborhood watches,
Yeah. Look, the issue with addiction is that the family members do start picking up the behavioral change.
Yeah.
The attitudes start changing, and it's a misconception that they're saying he's becoming a teenager and that kind of thing. He's naughty, but in today's world, like for instance the Dagga story.
Yeah.
It's not legal. They say it's legal. It's not legal. I normally say, show me your cancer, then you can smoke. Are you sick? Are you ill? Do you have cancer? The bill was kind of like being approved for people with illnesses.
Yes.
Yeah? Are you suffering from something? Then tell me. Or are you just suffering from not being high? Because the misconception that Dagga is not a drug.
Yeah.
It is. If you smoke it, what happens to you? You become high.
Yeah.
You change your mindset, obviously. So it's a drug. So the kids start smoking this, and they start doing the lean, which is a very, very huge problem at the moment. Lean is a mixture of codeine tablets, cough syrup, jelly beans, and cool drinks.
Well, it sounds like everything a child would want.
Yes. Shaken up in a bottle and drink is the same effect as heroin. The
Wow.
same effect as heroin.
How do people think of these things?
The music. Lil Wayne came out with a song a couple of years ago, and he mentions in the Shazab, in the song. And they're still talking about it right now. And they still, it's in the music, you'll hear little clues. And the kids that know the rap words and all this, there's little clues in there of how they're doing. But nonetheless, the chemists and pharmacists are not playing along either.
Yeah.
They're selling this. You'll see now. I pick it up because I'm in the know. Going to a chemist now. It's summer, but the cough mixture is on special.
Wow.
Stocks and stacks of cough mixture being sold to kids. I blame the pharmacists directly. They are not putting laws into place that, well, there are laws. They're just shooting the curb on the laws. And this is being sold. But the fact of the matter is that the kids, after they've been doing the lean and the dacha, they need a stronger substance because now that's becoming boring. And then they move on to heavier, harder drugs, which is your heroin, and then your tick, and buttons, because they need a better high, a stronger high.
So is our community doing enough to tackle this problem?
No. Only those who are afflicted and affected by it are doing something about it, but they're a handful.
Yeah.
Neighborhood watchers, I take my hat off to them. They watch our neighborhood while we sleep.
Yeah.
And it's there where you start seeing these, what we call in Cape Town, tikkoppe.
Yeah.
They are live at night.
At night.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're walking around with eyes bigger than saucers. And they're just going for strolls. They're just high. But they're actually what we call scuttling. If there's an opportunity to steal or take something, they'll do it. You know?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is their life of addiction. It's linked to crime.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And these guys that are addicted, like the ones who say the tikkoppers, they tend to be very aggressive and very violent. And our neighborhood watchers, then they are putting their life on the risk. They're not getting paid for this. It's voluntary.
No, it's voluntary.
And
because
are they well equipped to
look? A lot of them have radios and batons and a few guns here and there, licensed guns. But they obviously can't use it. But yes, they are putting their lives on the line because you never know when the tick-up comes through your ceiling, or is in your house stealing your stuff, and the violence that you talk about is the substance, making them violent. You'll see as the progression of addiction happens, it becomes first irritability because you can't get this fix. This is now in the early stages of addiction. And then it's like, you'll see his mood swings, and then it becomes aggressive.
Yeah.
And then through his addiction, that aggressive behavior becomes part of that addictive nature. And that's in most of the addicts, not all, but most of them.
Yeah.
You know, and it turns out to be quite violent. I mean, threats, verbal threats, and I mean, I've had now an incident where one addict was threatening to kill his family.
Wow.
And now, do you take that lightly or do you take that seriously? When we get there, obviously we know the situation, but the mom, she's scared and petrified. This is not the son. This is somebody else. How can my own child tell me he's going to kill us all in our sleep? People sleep with the doors locked, scared of their own child. Wow. You go into houses, when I go out and I speak to families, you see TVs chained. We're not talking about the nice flat screen, eh? We're talking about your old, round, big box TV, an enormous one, chained. And there's nothing else in the house. Because they've stolen, especially pensioners, man. The mother and the father may be on tuck already and gone and lost to drugs. Now the opa and the oma is looking after the grandchild, but he's also a major tucker because he looked up at his parents and he became an addict. So they come into this house, I remember it, I will never forget it. I come in and the opa says, we're going to combine our pension to pay for our grandson so he don't become like my son.
Wow.
Who's in Pollsmoor now.
Wow. So we're gonna. This is a very sensitive topic. So we're gonna take another short break. Okay. So for the viewers that's watching us at home, when we come back, we're gonna discuss now what Hanif is doing in his rehabilitation to assist the community in bettering it and also alleviate drug addiction within the community. So do not go anywhere. Stay in your seats. See you when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. If you just tuned in, you're watching Open Studio on Cape Town TV. I'm your host for today's show. My name is Kambwa, and yes, today's topic is a very sensitive one. If you just joined in, not too late, because now we're going to speak to Mr. Hanif, who's joining us here in the studio, and we're going to hear a little bit more about what Tawakkul Rehabilitation Center is doing to assist the people within the community battle addiction and also drugs. So, Mr. Hanif, we've spoken about the problems that the households face, from the communities facing, how they can battle it, how they can assist each other. So tell us, what is your community doing to assist within the community?
Well, look, our center, Tawakkul Rehab Center, is it's a rehab center in its first instance, in its first existence. It's about rehabilitating the addict itself, who's now enslaved by substance and who's battling his own battle to stop his addiction. That's the rehab center, and in itself, we do outreach little programs to assist the community with coping with their addicts and their family members who are addicts. And how we do that is we have little support group meetings for families.
Okay.
First of all, to assist in the recovery of the patient, and then further to that, we have family support groups, which is open days for outside families to come in and question if they have any questions, if they need information, if they need assistance with, with addiction or with their coping. Because you must remember, the stuff that I mentioned earlier about how these behaviors change and what it does to the family and how it affects and afflicts the family, they also need therapy. They don't know, they're not educated in the field, or they don't understand what's happening. And it's our duty to help them with understanding what's happening in their lives, how it afflicts and affects them. Normally they had an idea of where they were going in their lives as a family, and suddenly one of the members of the family just goes that way, and everybody else has to either claw back at him, and then the route you were on changes. Everybody thought white picket fences. Now they have trolleys with Pollsmoor. So it changes the view of what it was. And it affects the brother, the sister, it affects the mother. There's fights always, this you spoil him, and a mother, and it's normally the mommies that gives him. They don't want to see their son go astray or go steal the neighbor's things. Then they normally give them some money without daddy seeing, because they know that it's now at that point where he needs the drug. Not he wants, he needs it. Otherwise, that whole violent behavior and all of that. So we kind of assist the families with support and information and therapy. Sometimes they are so badly affected that they traumatize.
So what are the age groups that you deal with?
Age, there isn't an age. It's from 14, 13, right up to 65, 70. I've had, in fact, I have a patient, I smile when I think of him. He's now 3 years clean. He's been an alcoholic for all his life. Uncle Kevin is his name. He's a very good guy. He's just been enslaved by alcohol forever. And he's now clean. And he still comes and he still buys the house snacks. Or he comes and visits all the time. But he's now recovered. And he's 70, sorry if I get this wrong, Uncle Kev, he's about 60, or not 60, 70 odd.
Wow.
And he's changed his life over the last 3 years. And all he knew was substance. Nothing else.
And it's never too late.
It's never too late. And then you get, obviously, 14, 15, 16. the new age of the patients coming in.
Yeah.
And it's difficult.
Yeah. Looking at 13, 14, 15, that's very young. So do you think the schools are doing enough to assist with this?
The schools are trying, but like everything, government's got their hands full. Well, the one hand full and the other's in the pocket. We need more funding. We need help. We need help. We really do need help. As community organizations, NPOs, NPCs, we're fighting this battle against this enormous war. And it's difficult. You can't fight in such a big conglomerate as the drugs with so little funding. And unfortunately, government wants you have to register, otherwise you have just all these crazy places just opening up. You have to register. But the process is so difficult. We need assistance with that also, and we need funding.
Yeah.
And obviously regulated funding, but we need help. So we do need help.
In which community are you operating at the moment?
At the moment, we situated in the southern suburbs, and we operate in that area because I feel that area is the most severely afflicted by drugs. Actually started there. The old drug scene started there with, in the old days, the dacha and the buttons started there.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was used by the previous government to subdue the colored masses. No, it's a serious story. Wow. It was in the Truth and the Reconciliation thing. It came out there, so lightly touched upon. It was used to subdue the head of the household, used to smoke buttons. If we look at most of the people, those years, the addicts, those years, were the working class. The bricklayers, the plasterers, they could never plaster a wall without smoking a pipe in the morning. But nonetheless, it's manifested itself in our community to such a degree that it's acceptable to smoke buttons. Ek rook maar net buttons in dacha. Wow. It's not as bad as heroin, unga, or tuk. Wow. So it's become like that already, but it's making our whole community stupid.
But seeing now that we are coming towards the end of the show, what would, for those that want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you? Okay,
Tawakkul Rehab, we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
We also on, we have a website, www.tawakkulrehab.org. And yes, we very easily found. We are on Schaapkraal.
Yeah.
22 Schaapkraal Road. Schaapkraal is a very well-known area, Jan Smuts, or Old Strandfontein Road as they used to call it. At the Pick and Pay, we're in that area, and that's very close to our central drug district.
There we go. And there you've had it, viewers. So please go out there and check it out. It's Tawakkul Rehabilitation Center. And yeah, so I thank you so much for coming, Hanif. For today, this is the end of the show. This is where we stop, but it does not end here. You can still make a difference. But I'm signing out for now. My name is Danny Kambwa. Till next time. Bye-bye.